This video will explain and respond to the many questions I get on the track system I'm using, how to run digital on 100-year-old tracks, and if 50 years old locomotives runs well as digital.
Hello and welcome to another video tutorial with Marklinofsweden. I got a number of requests, especially from my annual layout update video, for why I'm running this metal type track. It's this type of track with a center rail. It needs a bit of an explanation because you guys who's not in Europe hasn't got a clue about this, but this type of rail is made by a manufacturer called Marklin. Since like 1930s, like that. So it's been on the market for forever and ever, and most Europeans has grown up with this type of rail system. So it has a bit of nostalgic reasons to catch up with it and build something new of it. This track system, the M-rail, has been obsolete. It has not been manufactured for like 20 years, but there is still a lot of it out on eBay, which is available at a kind of affordable cost. So if you're looking to build something large, you can use this in the hidden areas, like in the shadow stations and such. And that was my idea when I designed my layout, to use this track system and combine it with a more pretty modern system with a plastic type rail without, this is called a K-track, and it's just to combine these two straight together like this. They have about the same track profile, so it's not an issue to do this. You have to make the electrical connection on your own, but otherwise this works fine too. There are adapter tracks still available if you prefer that. And the reason to combine these two is, of course, that the older system has very tight radiuses, not very realistic. And this one's available in numerous radiuses and also as a flex track. So you can make very nice parade routes with it. This old track system, the M-track, has its limitation also when it comes to the turnout, the switches. I have done massive amounts of testing on the switches because when you're building a layout with like 100 switches, you need a very low failure rate for the switches. They must operate every time, or you're in big trouble. No train will ever come to the destination. It's as simple as that. So I have excluded all of the crossings. The reason for that is that the locomotives, the engines with short wheelbase, the plastic parts of the crossings, the 5128 and the 5208, is too long, and the risk that the loco stops on these crossing is big. This M-track system has been replaced since many years with the more modern plastic C-track system, which is a plastic-based track with a more stealthy center rail. So looks better, but it costs a bit more though. I also got a bunch of questions on the track cleaning, and if a digital operation on this track is more problems than on the more modern track system. And my conclusion is that it's not. It has to do with other things than the track system. This one's more sensitive to moisture in the air. So if you're choosing the older system, it's a good idea to keep the moisture level down, and that can be done with a dehumidifier, which is running during the humid periods of the year, like autumn and spring. Otherwise, it's just keep dust levels down and don't over lubricate. That's the whole trick for every track system. I also got quite a few questions on the digital operation on this type of track, the M-track, and you have been more than patient waiting for this video to come online. I am running digital operation on this track, and it is not a problem at all. Now, before going digital on the M-track, you need to check a few things, especially when it's for this feeder track with 2 wires. It's a brown and a red wire, because some of them has this, it's a capacitor, it's an electrical component, which is there to reduce the noise, the electrical noise coming from mostly the motor, and also the arcing that goes on a bit here and there when trains are moving along the lines, the track system. This capacitor needs to be cut away. So before running digital, remove this. It can be done with a soldering iron or just cut it away. The cheapest way to go digital, to go over to digital on M-track, is by buying a slaughtered starter kit, and then you get this type of adapter. Remove the box from this track, disconnect this red and brown, and connect the red and brown here on the M-track. So, and then you're up and running. This is for the transformer and for mobile station 1 or mobile station 2. If you want a more elegant solution, then Marklin has a connector box for this purpose, which you can connect to MS1 or MS2 to. Another word on operating the switches, the turnout, the 5202, 5140, 5137, is an advice to use the new M83 decoder and not the old K83. The reason for that is that the M83 can be powered externally from an external power supply with a bit of a higher voltage than what you get from the K83. So that really made the reliability go up for me, and all of the switches, they're operating very nicely. So if you're thinking about that, please use the M83 decoder. Another thing that you definitely will run into when switching to a digital system is that you probably want to convert your old analog locomotive to digital. This can definitely be made with most of the locomotives. Check with your local dealer because they know what can be converted or not. Another question I get typically is if I'm happy with the locomotives I have converted to digital. And I would say that the newer type analog locos works fine. The older 60s and 70s, they have a lot of mechanic noise and things like that. And if you combine that with a sound decoder, it's not really to my liking, especially not if you mix the newer type locomotives with older. You definitely get a lot of noise from the gears and things in the old locomotives. But if you're happy with that type of operation, it works fine. It's not a problem at all, and the conversion can be made at a reasonable cost. I have a tutorial on how a typical analog to digital conversion of a Marklin loco is made. I'm putting up the link here so you can have a look at that. Every loco is more or less different from another one. It has a number of different motors, and a lot of the space varies a lot inside, so every conversion is unique, I would say. If you feel uncertain of if you can do this, if you ever have soldered or something like that, leave your locomotive to the dealer and let the professional deal with the conversion. In the digital system, power costs a lot of money. In the old analog system, you just added a new transformer and, you know, everything worked like a charm. But in a digital system, you need to be aware about the consumers. And in the switches of this old system, there are bulbs, incandescent lamps, which are consuming a horrendous amount of power. So first thing I did was I disconnected all of the lanterns, the lamps, and I saved several amps on that alone. So that is something I can advise you to do. I get quite a few questions on LED replacements for the old incandescent lamp. I've been experimenting with that, trying to get a reliable LED lamp, but the space is so tiny, so I haven't really succeeded. If you have a brilliant idea or know of a manufacturer who does supply replacement LEDs to the old M-track switches, please post in the comment field and let everyone know. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please help others to find this video by giving it a thumbs up and sharing it on your favorite internet forums. If you have any questions at all about the video or anything here, just post it in the comment field below this video and I'll try to respond to that as soon as possible. If this video helps you with your hobby, please remember that all of this is made possible because a few of you viewers are supporting the channel. So if you want to be one of the good guys and contribute to the channel, get onto Patreon and set up a support account there from $1 per month. Or make a one-off donation via the PayPal dialog found in the video description below. Please subscribe to the channel and you will get a notification once next video gets published. Until that happens, see ya. I hope